What an outstanding crowd we have here tonight, friends. And I know Pam did this already, but pay special respect to a man who built Ontario, made it strong, built our country, Canada, and made sure everybody knew in every speech about Brampton, Premier Bill Davis. Thank you very much for joining us here today. My friends, a great crowd, and you know what? We've got a lot to look forward to. It's only 87 days till Christmas. 32 days till Halloween. And 7 days till Ontario families say enough is enough and it's time for change in the province of Ontario. The kind of change that Brampton families need, the kind of change Mississauga family needs, a change that is long overdue because Dalton McGuinty's promise-breaking, tax-hiking, loose spending, criminal coddling, crony-favoring, showing up as good enough Liberals have failed our province for far too long. Families need relief. Lorraine needs relief. And Lorraine needs change. You want to know who Lorraine is? You do want to know who Lorraine is. That was a good nod and a smile. Lorraine, I was on a call with Lorraine the other night. She said, Tim, I'm real proud of my daughter. She graduated from the University of Toronto. She's on the Dean's Honors List. She can't find a good job. Jobs aren't out there for our young people these days. And then on top of that, she hears about Dalton McGuinty's $10,000 affirmative action subsidy. Says Dalton McGuinty's going to tax me to pay somebody $10,000 to hop ahead of my daughter in line who got her degree, got qualification, and she's got fire in her eyes and wants to work in our province. Friends, we reject that approach. Our view as Canadians, no matter how long you lived in our province, 6 months, a year, 10 years, 20 years, you should be hired based on your skills, how hard you want to work, what you bring to the job, not based on a $10,000 credit for the select few. We should create good jobs for everyone to succeed in the great province of Ontario. Did you watch the debate last night? Yes. What did you think of that debate last night? You see the part about the Mississauga power plant? Follow this, so a few laughs here in the audience. I think Andrew and I got a bit of a smile. You've heard about this, right? Dalton McGuinty was championing this power plant for Mississauga for 6 years, and then 11 days before Election Day, all of a sudden he does a flip-flop to make an Olympian gymnast proud. Says all of a sudden he's against that plant. And he's going to cancel that plant. And then we asked him last night directly, how much is it going to cost? Where's the plant going to go? He had no answers. He dodged, he weaved, he bobbed. Not a single answer for Ontario families. You know what, Feek and I, we were down there at that plant just the other day. Have you seen it on TV? It's actually, I think it's been live streamed on our website. People are still working down there. Big hole in the ground filled with concrete, road leading up to it, a tower. You know what they call a big hole in the ground with concrete poured there? What do they call it? They call it a basement. So Dalton McGuinty says he's going to move that. You try moving your basement and see how far you get. See, what Dalton McGuinty doesn't understand is a power plant's not like a mobile home. It doesn't have wheels on it. You can't just hook up your pickup truck and drive it away. It's there for good. And Dalton McGuinty, when he says he's going to move that plant, what, he's going to move to Brampton? He's going to move it to Etobicoke, somewhere else in Mississauga. Here's the problem, Mr. McGuinty, when it comes to health care, when it comes to taxes, when it comes to your power plant, nobody believes you anymore. And have you heard about your hydros? Your hydro bill gone up? Hydro bills have gone up for an average family by 84%. And you have one of these time-use smart meters, 150%. But you know what? That's the good news. The bad news is if Dalton McGuinty gets back in, hydro bills for Brampton families are going to go up an additional $732 a year. Can you afford that? The time for change? will you join with me and say on October the 6th, we'll stop the tax man once and for all before he can tax us again. So let me ask you this. Can you afford 4 more years of Dalton McGuinty? No. Can you afford 4 more years of the guy that brought you the HST? No. Can you afford 4 more years of the guy that brought you the health tax? No. Can you afford 4 more years of the guy who put auto insurance rates through the roof for families in Brampton? Can you afford 4 more years of the guy who chased 300,000 manufacturing jobs out of our province? Can you afford 4 more years of the guy who wasted $1 billion while Brampton Memorial Hospital stayed closed? No. My friends, that's why it is time for change in the province of Ontario. We can't afford Dalton McGuinty for 4 more months, for 4 more minutes, and that's why on October the 6th, we'll bring in a PC majority government, because we can't afford Dalton McGuinty anymore. And this is what my strong team in Brampton and Mississauga will do. Dalton McGuinty will raise your taxes, will give average families a break. Dalton McGuinty will increase your hydro bills. We'll take the HST off your heat. We'll take it off your hydro. We'll take the debt retirement charge off your bill so families can actually afford the basics again. And Dalton McGuinty will continue to coddle our prisoners. And we'll ask them to give back to society, asking our prisoners to work up to 40 hours a week in manual labor, picking up garbage, cleaning up graffiti, giving back to society that they've taken from. And Dalton McGuinty will put your auto insurance rates up even higher. Can you afford that? No. Here's what we're going to do. Pam and Amarjeet, Ben, Wafik, and Sanjeev, you know those shady clinics, we're going to shut them down. If you're ripping off the system, we're going to put you out of business. We will get control and pass on the savings to your auto insurance premiums to law-abiding citizens in the province of Ontario. So my friends, that's the kind of change that we want to bring. Let me ask you this. These last 7 days, are you ready to knock on that last door? Yes. Are you ready to pound down that last lawn sign? Yes. Are you ready to get that last voter out to the polls on Election Day? Because this is a moment, friends, where we can look our kids and our grandkids in the eye and say, this is where we turned it around, because we have never, ever stopped believing in the incredible future of the beautiful province of Ontario and its hardworking, industrious people. We just need change in our province, change to give families relief, change to get focused on bringing good jobs to our province, the kind of jobs that are the ticket to the middle class, and change to end the waste, the insurance fraud, the secret deals, and respect every tax dollar you send to Queen's Park. My friends, Dalton McGuinty can't do it. Dalton McGuinty won't do it. We can, and in 7 days from today, we will. Thank you very much. Keep up the good fight. Keep fighting out there for Ontario families. Awesome. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
I believe you got something that's mine all this time. So to sing along, fork it over.
But I only saw a part of it because I had other problems to deal with. I thought it did quite well. You know, I've been there myself, 71, 75, 77, 81, and so I know the pressures all of them were under. I remember the one debate where things were getting a little difficult, and Fraser Kelly, now he was a journalist with the Trump Senator. Remember that? You're too young. You're too young. Yeah, too young. And I was uptight a little bit. I ended up calling him Mr. Fraser instead of Mr. Kelly. You know, we do those sorts of things. But I thought it was a good debate.
Mr. Davis, one person who actually mentioned your name last night during the debate was Dalton McGuinty. He invoked your memory. So what do you think of the fact that the Liberal leader is name-dropping you rather than the Conservative?
Well, it's better that somebody's dropping me than no one. listen. What do you want me to say?
Well, Mr. McGuinty is trying to make it out that Mr. Hudak is not a Bill Davis-style conservative. He's a progressive conservative in your style.
Well, listen, no one's in my style. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. What do you mean, my style? No, help me.
He's not too right-wing for you?
What is your definition of right wing? Where's the center? No, but you have to help me. You have to tell me. Where is the right? Where is the left? Where is the middle? It changes, doesn't it?
How do you think Mr. Hudak is doing, Jack?
I can only tell you I think he's doing quite well here in Brampton. I've been to several other ridings, and I think he's doing quite well. If you're going to ask me, to make predictions, I never have. I didn't when I was running, and I haven't started doing it yet. No, but you have a very good. Who are you again?
My friend Robert Fisher asked me to ask you how Tim's doing.
Listen, I'm a great supporter of the People's Network.
Mr. Davis, are you worried about the province of Ontario? Are you worried about the state it's in and the fact that all these leaders are promising the earth and they may not be able to deliver?
Are you going to write in your paper? Well, which paper?
National Post.
The National Post. Are you writing that we are not in good shape? Are you going to write that they're making promises that
If you say that.
No, I'm not going to say it. You're saying it. Listen, I have a great time with the press, but I think you people have to express your own points of view. I can't be the source of all your information. I'm retired. So
Do you really think, sir, there's a fix to automobile insurance as far as Brampton goes?
I have no idea.
As the BC party has?
I'm sure they'll try. Yeah.
They'll try.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't you think we have a lot of momentum happening in our campaign? Le MPD a le vent dans les voiles. That means the NDP has wind in our sails. And I'm really thrilled to be here in the riding of Brampton West with our fantastic candidate, Delbir Kathuria, as well as the other candidates from the area. We are here as New Democrats to offer a real change for the people of these ridings and the people of Ontario. We have been hearing for so long now that the status quo is not working for everyday people. Life is becoming too expensive. People don't have decent jobs. Their healthcare system is not there for them when they need it. And New Democrats know that it does not have to be that way anymore. We can make the kind of change that puts people first. We can make the kind of change that makes sure that you have decent jobs to go to. Not jobs that are brokered through a temp agency that takes away your rights and it doesn't provide you with the proper kind of wages And we'll do that by making sure we're rewarding the companies that are creating jobs, not giving blank checks to the companies that are sending jobs somewhere else. And I know that when I talk to lots of you in this community and other communities, one of the issues you raise is how life is just not affordable. And so New Democrats are saying we can make life more affordable. We can take the HST off of home heating, off of hydro. We can start taking it off of gas. We can make sure that people are able to make ends meet again in Ontario. And I know that a lot of you are concerned about insurance rates particularly, and I talked about this a little bit earlier on when I was at the airport talking to some of the taxi and limo drivers. And, you know, we are going to examine that issue, and we're going to make sure that we have a system that actually takes care of the affordability and insurance as well. We're going to engage in a conversation about how we make And I think that it's important to say that you know where our priorities lie in the healthcare system. New Democrats are going to put patients first in the healthcare system, not the salary of the CEO. You know, we know that we can make the kind of change that puts people front and center on the agenda, that puts people first. And that's the kind of change we're going to bring in this riding when we elect Delbert on October the 6th. And that's the kind of change we're going to bring in all of the surrounding ridings when we bring New Democrats into the legislature in every single riding across this province. Why? Because I think last night we showed clearly that we get it.
Yes. We are the best.
We showed clearly that we understand where people are coming from, we understand what their problems and concerns are, and we are prepared to start putting forward the very practical, very reasonable solutions that start moving this province in the right direction. Not the same old status quo, but the direction that puts you front and center. And I'm going to end with my famous last words that I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, and I'll be saying them probably for the next week or so, which is that it's time right now for a new premier at Queen's Park. It's time for a new premier at Queen's Park, and I'm just the woman for that job. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic last week of the campaign. We are going to bring it home, and we are going to make sure that we bring the real change that Ontarians deserve and that they want. Thank you so much.
One criticism that's come out of the debate yesterday has been that none of the three leaders involved in it addressed city issues, like the issues going on in Toronto right now, here in Mississauga. Brampton's even got some fiscal issues. How do you respond to that criticism?
Well, I mean, we tried to respond to the questions that the 6 Ontarians brought forward, and I think that I did actually talk about helping cities by taking the operating costs of transit off their back so that they can expand transit services and make transit more available for people, while at the same time freezing fares. I think I talked about making sure we're uploading the services that were downloaded by the Conservatives several years ago, so I think that I did anyways try to bring within the context of the conversation that was given to us by the voters who were able to have their televised question. I think I did bring a couple of those issues up, and it's one of the restrictions of that kind of a format where you're guided by the questions that come from the public, and we try to bring in as much as possible. But there's no doubt cities need help, and the province needs to be there as a partner, and that's why not only are we doing this with transit, but we're offering $125 million for each of the next 2 years to stabilize the childcare system, to make sure that rates don't go up for parents and spaces don't get lost, because municipalities are starting to backtrack on childcare because Mr. McGuinty has destabilized that system. We are also making a commitment on roads and bridges and other infrastructure. We've made a commitment around all-day GO service. So the commitments are there. We were able to talk a little bit about that last night, but New Democrats are pretty proud of our relationship with cities and what we have to offer. Thanks.
Regarding automobile insurance,
Yes,
all
sir.
parties claim, both of them, that they have a fix to that, and Dalton McGuinty hasn't fixed the problem for the last 8 years. Do you have a plan?
Well, interestingly enough, Mr. McGuinty's made it worse in terms of auto insurance because you're paying more and you're getting less in terms of your coverage and your service. Look, we know very well that there needs to be some adjustments to the current system, and what I have said is that I'll sit with stakeholders and I'll try to hammer out something that's more fair. At the very least, we need to know why they're setting their rates the way they are with the postal codes as they're identifying them. There needs to be some transparency there. There needs to be some accountability there. So we're going to start there, and I'm hopeful that as we go through that process, the insurance companies will see that they need to make a product that's not only affordable, but actually meets the needs of the clients. That's not what we have now. So we're definitely committed to doing that.
Focusing on the plan, Cynthia. I don't think there's any secret there. I'm very optimistic about how far we've come together and how important it is now to put our focus on the economy. I mean, that's where Ontarians are at. Businesses are concerned about that. Families are concerned about that. We have a responsibility as both as a party, who's seeking to form the government yet again, to ensure that we address that in a proactive way. So that's what we'll be talking more about this week, the need for us to take steps to inspire more confidence in our economy and to create jobs. Where are you?
Right here. Tell me if your party's prepared to readjust their numbers if you see the economy starting to go sideways quickly.
Not globally. Our plan will still call for $1.5 billion in new investment by the end of year 4, but we have some flexibility along the way. In fact, $1.7 billion of flexibility built into each year. I think it's important for us to begin to address this looming challenge represented by the global economy. The good news is that Canada has a stellar reputation internationally. We've got the strongest banks in the world right here in Ontario, Canada. We're the #1 auto producer in North America. We're the #1 job producer in Canada. We're the second most favored destination for foreign investment in North America. So we've got a lot of things going for us, but again, I believe it's very essential for us to act in a proactive way to strengthen our economy further, and we'll be talking about that in the days to come. Monsieur. C'est le temps d'être sérieux. Ça prend un plan sérieux pour adresser les grands défis qu'on doit relever ensemble. Parler des prisonniers dans nos parcs, pour moi, c'est pas la priorité pour les Ontariens, les Ontariennes. Alors, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous mettons l'emphase sur l'économie et notre responsabilité de travailler ensemble pour maintenir et, en plus de cela, créer de nouveaux emplois. Yeah. Doesn't mean, you raised this with me before, please address it again. It doesn't mean it's unimportant. Obviously, auto insurance rates are very important to all of our families. You don't have a choice, you've got to buy auto insurance, right? That's the system that we have in place, it's the law. Here's what we've done. We've managed to keep auto insurance rate hikes below the rate of inflation for the last 8 years. Contrast that with the last 3 years of the PC government, it went up 43%. In our 8 years, it went up less than 17%. So we're headed in the right direction. Now, what we've asked a couple of our ministers to do is to conduct a review to see what more we can do to remove fraud from the system. Fraud is a very expensive proposition for everybody who buys insurance. So we're determined to find a way to address that.
So,
We're talking about taking responsible steps. You're talking about getting that information out of me right now. I'm talking about not telling you right now. So what I can say is we anticipated that this might very well be the case. We've seen, we've heard and we've watched with tremendous interest developments in places like Greece and Spain, and more recently places like Italy, and formerly places like Ireland. We pay very close attention to the challenges developing in the U.S. economy. We've known all along we can't wait for the outside world to drive growth inside here in Ontario. So that's what our 5-point plan is all about. It's driving that growth. But what we're saying now is we've got to anticipate looming challenges. And we built that flexibility into our plan. That's $1.7 billion every year. And it'll be focused on job creation.
Coming to Brampton issues, sir.
Yes, sir.
The fourth member of the MPP, she's always missing from public events, Ms. Mangat. Any particular reason that you could state?
I am very proud of all my members.
We are not saying we are not proud of her, but she's been missing.
She's working hard. I saw her at an event that we held at 8 o'clock this morning. I know that she's working exceptionally hard, as are all our candidates all around the province. I'm very proud of them. In fact, I'll go so far to say I'm very proud of all candidates who are participating in this provincial election. It's a marvelous, prized jewel, this democracy that we hold. I've said it many times. In some parts of the world, there are people struggling to enjoy democracy. Even some people giving up their lives to participate in democracy. So we've got a great system, and I'm very proud of my candidates in particular for all the work that they're doing.